Right, guys, welcome to episode 4 of your podcast, the upcoming retro podcast. I'm one of your hosts, the video game voter, and I'm joined by two of my co-hosts. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, fellas.
I'll jump in. It's your boy, the Black Ranger. Um, I am I'm highly still inebriated from last night. I just had my 20-year class reunion, and it, it 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 was what it was. I'm very tired. My eyes hurt, as you can see. But yes, welcome to your podcast, you guys. Great to be here.
What's going on, guys? I'm wrecked. I'm tired too. It was my 10-year anniversary yesterday, so we were up late doing stuff. So, well, yeah. So, yeah, I'm tired too. And but I'm happy to be here. It's going to be a good topic today. It's going to be amazing, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, yep.
Yeah, so this week I just wanted to tackle a topic that has been plaguing the gaming community for quite some time, and some of the stuff is starting to funnel its way a little more into more specifically this podcast and also just my channel in general. But of course, we're talking about just toxic behavior in the gaming community, right? And I'm pretty sure everybody has experienced it in one way or another, whether that is as a creator or as just a fan in any type of group chat, Facebook groups, Discord, anything like that. And we just kind of want to discuss that and I guess not necessarily get to the bottom of it, but it's kind of like an open discussion and chat. I definitely want to see you guys chime in on the discussion as well. So I guess we'll start with Black Ranger. What have you experienced as far or what you consider to be toxic in the gaming community? And what was your experience? And we can just piggyback off of that and discuss that in more detail.
Faux show. So it's been a lot of toxicity in the community, and it comes from both sides, as Marcus said. Whether it's as a creator, as a fan, um, you see it from both ends. As a creator, I don't get it as much. I've had a few people maybe say something on the video about different things. Oh, I can't hear you. Turn your music down. And I know Marcus has gotten those type of things, and I'm pretty sure uh, Mike Rec, you might have heard some of this too. But you see that a lot, and a lot of times it's people who don't have channels or may not be returning viewers. They just pop on, and I'm okay with uh, criticism, or anything that's going to help the channel get better, help me get better as a creator. But there's a lot of times when people just come on just to talk trash. They just come on to hate. You see it a lot, whether it's actual creators that are doing this or people that just are fans of other creators that come on to try and make you feel less than about your content. And it's getting to be to the point where it's like, dude, why would you even do that? We're literally here to talk about games. We're supposed to be here to just have fun. Like, it's a hobby that we all doing. And whether you're an avid gamer, um, somebody who's a mobile gamer, you a gamer is a gamer. We all like to have fun one way or another. So why come on just to bash and talk trash? My mom always said, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say nothing at all. That's kind of old and outdated, but at the same time, like, yeah, man, calm down. Like,
Yeah.
chill out. Let's just
Yeah.
have fun.
Yeah, I agree. I just never can understand the energy. Like it- we're talking about video games. Like how does things get messy? You start calling names. And first of all, let me just say that people do that because they're comfortable hiding behind a keyboard. That's number one. I doubt that anybody is going to say whatever they want to say behind a keyboard to the person's face and vice versa because they can go other ways. You got creators that bully people in the chat and stuff like that. And it's going to come a time where, I'm not promoting violence at all, but it's going to come a time where something's going to hit the fan with one way or the other. It's going to happen, but it's really not a place for it, especially when my past couple experiences at video game conventions and the love and friendliness and friendship in the community. Like, how does this have or make its way in? And like Black Ranger was saying, there's a lot of like random comments that happen from people with no subscribers, probably been on there a year. I personally feel like it's people with burner accounts who don't want to say things from their main account or whatever the case may be. Like, it's weird. That's the only thing I could think, that or someone that the creator may know personally. So that's the only thing I can kind of think, because it just doesn't make sense. And it's just weird that you have people that will normally a thumbnail, like, obviously, if you're a content creator on YouTube, you're going to make sometimes clickbaity thumbnails. You got to get people to want to watch the video, but you probably have an idea of what the video is about, because you can easily click on the channel. Oh, this is a gaming channel. If you don't like gaming, why are you clicking on the video?
Yeah.
And you want to, call names or whatever the case may be and come in there and bring a negative energy. But that's strange and corny to click on a video just to leave a nasty comment or just keep it moving. Like, I just feel like there's no space for that. Not in this, because regardless of how everybody or anybody feels, the gaming community and gaming as a whole and collecting may mean something totally different to an individual versus how someone else perceives it. They're nerds and this, that, you see these comments so much. I've seen a comment on someone else's page. I'm not going to say who, because I don't want people to go over there and look at it, but they said something about, it was a bunch of creators at a convention, and that video was about that. And the person went in there, oh, I bet you this is their first time around a female. And it's just like, that's the biggest thing. Like, this is how we're going to start this conversation off, because I think that's the biggest thing that pisses me off that I see. What is with this stigma that people that either game or collect or vice versa live at home with their parents, don't have a house, don't have a car, don't have a family, don't have a career? Why is that? How did that happen? How did that happen? I need to know, because I know for a fact, just us three right here, that's the furthest from the truth. The absolute furthest. Why is that the stigma? I want to know who it started with, and why is it that?
Honestly, dude, I think it has a lot to do with that stigma of, like, back in the 80s when video games really kind of took off, right? You had the crash in 83, and then Nintendo kind of brought that back when they released the NES. And back then video games were looked at as more of like a child's toy, right? It was like weird or unusual for adults or older people to play video games. And I think that's where it kind of comes from. Like, oh, if you're a nerd and you play video games and you're into these kind of things, you're weird. There's no way you could get a girl. There's no way that you got kids. There's no way you got a job. You live in your mom's basement and you play video games all day. Yeah, that's absolutely not true. Obviously, I have 2 kids. So, I mean, I've had a job since I was 16 years old, and I own my own house. So, I mean, people have this weird stereotype, man, that's kind of been around forever, and it's just kind of always stuck. Now, granted, I feel like, there's still those, douchebags out there that have those sentiments about us. But at the same time, I also feel like the culture has definitely shifted in the last couple of years, where like being a nerd is more socially acceptable than it used to be. And all of these things like anime, comic books, video games, collecting toys and stuff like that has become more mainstream. And I think a lot of that has to do with things like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. People from our generation, like millennials, are starting to feel more comfortable posting their passions online and sharing those things with people, and it's become more socially acceptable. And I think that's helped a lot. But you still have those fucking douchebags in the comments that are just never going to be happy, that they're miserable with themselves. And the thing is, dude, is I find it hilarious that they're going to make fun of us for liking video games, but they would rather watch motherfuckers play football and play grab ass in tights. But we're the weirdos, dude. And I do like football. I'm a Raider fan, by the way. I'm just saying, like, why can't you like both? It drives me up the wall that people go out of their way to be assholes for no reason because people love something. Drives me nuts. That's my biggest pet peeve. Like, I hate people like that. They have nothing better to do. It's like, bro, like, everybody has a passion. Everybody's like into something, right? So like, oh, I'm into cars, or I collect guns, or I collect artwork, or I collect this or that. It's like, if it makes you happy, dude, why do you care so much about what I'm doing with my money and my spare time? Like, you know, I get the comments all the time, oh, video games are such a waste of time. I'm like, yeah, but you watched my video and wasted time to write that comment. Like, clearly you took time out of your day to watch my video, and I appreciate that. That's great. It's another view, you know, for my channel, but go fuck yourself. Respectfully. Sorry, guys, this one's going to get a little spicy because this is like a topic that needs to be talked about because it drives me nuts. And I know a lot of you out there that are nerds and creators or viewers or just hobbyists get the same type of thing, right? So that's just kind of how I feel. I'm looking forward to this episode because we're gonna talk some shit.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to Retro Rob. He said trolls actually watch and comment on my vids more than my friends. That's very true. And like I was saying, I think you just jumped in, Rob. I wouldn't be surprised for one if it's creators with burner accounts or just somebody you know with a burner account, just like trying to just, I don't know, just rain on your parade. But like Mike was saying, like it just makes zero sense. Like that's one thing that I've realized like a while ago with social media, right? I'm not even a fan of social media. I kind of just do it to interact with, you know, for obviously for my channel and stuff like that. And I try to just surround myself with like-minded people. Like a lot of people I know personally aren't even on my Facebook and stuff like that, just because I don't even want to attract that energy. You know, I just kind of keep it separate. I'd rather be around and deal with like-minded people. But you know, you got people that, you know, slip in through the cracks or pretend to be a certain kind of way when in all actuality they create a lot of the negative energy in the gaming community. Like it's okay to feel differently from somebody, but you should never be calling people names that you don't know, you know, and then making things weird, showing up at conventions and creating potential conflict. Because what I think that people need to realize too is kind of like a warning. You don't know people. You just assume he's got to be this or she's got to be this. People are human beings at the end of the day. So, you know, it's just words of the wise. Just be careful who you talk to. And especially if you actually, you know, want to try to do that in public. At a public place.
Oh yeah,
You
dude,
know?
because that's the crazy thing, bro, is like people are wild, man. Like they assume because someone's a nerd that they won't punch you in the mouth. Like straight up. Because at the end of the day, like we're all adults here. And like if it was about anything else and you came up to me on the street and like got in my face or like made me feel some type of way, you know, like you never know. Like, and they do it because they, you know, they've gotten away with it. But one day that they meet the wrong one. You know what I mean? And
Yeah. Could be
I
having a
mean,
bad day.
yeah, they could be having a bad day, you know, and they get you, you know, because you think, oh, they're a nerd, they can't fight. Okay, all right.
Right. Everybody looks at it. They still think a nerd is, you know, Steve Urkel and all these things back then. The funny thing is, it's more of a nerd to be behind closed doors and not actually admit that you like this stuff than to be out. Growing up, especially in our community, you know what I'm saying? Of course, you know, we got sports and all that stuff. Everybody watched Dragon Ball Z, but nobody
Hell
wore
yeah.
nobody wore the shirts. If you wore the shirt and ran around with your arms behind your back like this, then you were a super nerd in school. However, everybody could still talk about it because everybody watched it. Did that make you a nerd? Slightly. I mean, it's all in how you view what a nerd is, but to call somebody a nerd and think it's a diss, I wear shirts that say blurred life, nerd life, all this stuff. There are conventions, and everybody look and be like, dude, these the type of people that be at these conventions. Yeah, you'd be surprised. Meg the Stallion is a super blurred nerd, whatever you want to call her. She do music videos, animated out. She goes to Japan and Tokyo and does cosplay. Will anybody say she's a nerd as a bad thing? No. They like,
Absolutely
man,
not, dude.
like, come on. And then people just look at it like I've learned there are also like with these trolls accounts, there are people who just love the attention that they get from being negative. Like
Yeah.
they thrive off of it. I can take it to the point where I was watching my nephew's middle school promotion, and there was a troll in the comments on YouTube, and he's literally anybody that hopped on there, hey, go my niece, blah blah blah. The dude is like, your niece is a weirdo. You have no idea who these people are. And it took one person to be like, hey, you talking about my grandchild right there. If I find out who you is, I'm gonna smack the shit out of you. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's just like that. And dude was like, oh, I'm sorry, and went quiet for like 5-10 minutes and then started doing it again. But people just thrive and feed off of the fact that I'm gonna try and get somebody riled up. I'm gonna say something stupid to somebody and be negative. Like, go get a life.
Yeah, dude. It's crazy. Like you don't, like you were saying about Meg the Stallion, there's so many celebrities out there that you would never know were nerds unless they publicly said it, right? Like I know for a fact, I used to be a big World of Warcraft guy, and that's like the ultimate nerd game, bro. Like you play WoW all day. Like, yeah, I did that for a long time. But guys, there are a lot of dudes who play the hell out of WoW. Like Dave Chappelle played WoW. Vin Diesel played WoW. There's like Henry Cavill, the guy who plays Superman, is a big super nerd. He almost missed getting the role for Superman because he was playing video games and didn't answer the phone. Like there's a lot of celebrities out there that are really into it. William Shatner used to play World of Warcraft. Like, yeah, I mean, dude, there's a lot of people that are into this kind of stuff, and it doesn't necessarily just have to be video games. Anything pop culture, like you like what, dude, I got the freaking Mighty Morphin Power Ranger movie playing right behind me right now with Ivan Ooze. Like you could watch like anything, like Power Rangers, comic books, toys, whatever your hobby is, whatever you like, man. Like that's cool with me, so I like how the culture has kind of shifted over the last couple of years. It's not like it used to be when we were, growing up, where it's like, oh dude, you're weird. Like, you're wearing the Naruto headband and you're running around like that. Like that guy's weird, dude.
Yeah.
So,
and speaking of that, it's definitely shifted, and you got I guess, and it's almost like when I see the trolls, I can like literally see them as a person. It's the guy that thought he was cool in high school, was afraid to read in front of the class, sweating, can't read. It's that guy, right? It's like I can picture it. And they think like now, 20 years later, it's still the same thing when the world has shifted. It's almost cool to be a nerd, or some people, depending on where they live at and the people they're around, what it is, they're scared to be themselves.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I wear things that, just being a black community, it may dress a certain kind of way, but I wear stuff that resonate with me. And even just having a certain graphic tee, people always stop me. Oh man, that shirt's dope.
yeah.
And what it is they don't have the heart. I literally wear whatever I want. I don't dress like the typical person from Baltimore or anything like that, where I wouldn't wear that color, or I do whatever I want, whenever I want. And I encourage everyone, especially kids, don't let anybody bully you, make you think that you should not like video games or you should not like anime. You're weird. And I'll say all that to say, here in Maryland, in DC to be exact, we have a con called Super MagFest every year, right? Celebration of music and gaming is really big on cosplay. And I remember one year I was there with my homeboy Greg, and we just sat down in the middle of the floor because it's a huge convention. And we're sitting there and we're seeing people walk past, thousands of people, bunch of people in cosplay. And it's like, I remember telling him, I said, bro, look at this. I said, a lot of these people, when they were in school and stuff like that, or back home, they would never, if they did this, they would probably get bullied. But I'm like, everybody here is doing and wearing and saying whatever they want, and nobody's batting an eye. And I honestly thought it was one of the most beautiful things, honestly, because it's like the cosplay gets really crazy there. Like it's insane. I enjoyed it. I actually did it because I kind of had that little stigma on me. Like, all right, I like video games and anime or whatever, but like cosplay, like, nah, that's going too far. But one year I was just like, forget it. And I had an absolute blast. Black Ranger was with me. I had a blast. To me, it made it that much more fun. We went out like to restaurants that were still in our cosplay, and people like got a kick out of it. And like we were like kind of in the hood, like, but nobody like looked at us weird. They was kind of like, we ordered food from one restaurant, and I was cosplaying as Mario, of course. And they're like, Mario, your food's ready in the whole restaurant. Like that was kind of funny, but I can just appreciate, it's definitely a lot more accepting. And I think some of that responsibility is on us too, to make kids feel comfortable. Like it's okay to be different and like whatever it is you like, and just maintain your confidence within yourself.
Yeah, that's how things will change, dude. Is that like when we were growing up, like especially I would say more like when our parents were growing up, like through like the 80s as like preteens or teenagers and stuff, when Dungeons and Dragons was coming out and like, the NES and video games were rising in popularity. But then like I think every generation it starts to get less and less bad, I guess. I don't know how you would word it, but I feel like now, since us as millennials, it's one of those things where like we know what it is, bro. So like when we're raising our children, I think it's going to be even, when they're growing up, it's going to be even more socially acceptable. And then when they raise their children, all that old stigma and mentality of like being a nerd, I think that is one thing I do think will eventually phase out because of how popular it is already. When our kids, my daughter, you guys have kids, like when they get older, they'll do the same thing in their kids, and it'll just like slowly start to disappear, as time goes on, and the old people die. And they get phased out, bro. Like, so I mean, that's just the way it is. Like it'll change where like, like back in my day, I walked up 3 hills through the snow to get to school, and I worked 10 jobs, and I ain't had no time for video games. Shut the fuck up. Like, I'm sorry. But yeah, that stuff will phase out. And the Uncle Ricos of the world, the jocks of the world will find out real quick that it's not cool to drive a Trans Am anymore and have a mullet.
Right.
Well, maybe not the Trans Am, because talking for Camaro guy. So let's hold off on that. Maybe the combination of the Trans Am and the mullet. You know what I'm saying? Like that's still cool, but we don't need any more Biffs to be around.
Yeah, like
Back to the Future.
Wanting to relive the glory days of when they were playing high school football, in 1982. Like
or Trip McNeely from what was that? Can't Hardly Wait.
Yeah.
He kind of went to college. He was the man in high school, went to college, and he was just a total loser with warts on his feet.
The funny thing is, speaking of college, like that used to be the stigma too. Like there was times when it was looked at, especially in some of the more hood communities, I guess I would say, like going to college. Like, dude, you went to college? Who does that? When I went to college, it was more dealers in college than anything else. And I'm like, all the hood dudes in college and all of them
car
graduating.
dealerships. Dealers.
Nah,
yeah, Ford, Chevrolet.
Nah, they was dealing something. They had Broncos, but it wasn't that. It wasn't no. Yeah, like these. You look at it's like all these old stigmas of it's not cool to do this, it's not cool to do that. Cool is whatever you make it, bro. Like
right.
I just like Marcus said, I do what I want when I want, wear what I want, and all that. And people still come up eventually and be like, I might get a DM or something behind the scenes, like, dude, that's dope. Like I ain't know you had this type of stuff. I ain't know you had that type of stuff. And I'm like, I'm glad like my community, close community, can see like, nah, like this is what I do for fun. Like, and you can't talk trash about it because you're sitting here like, man, I gotta come visit the basement. And I'm looking like, you guys would be surprised if you saw some of the people I hang around. If they saw my basement and then went somewhere like Marcus or Rex room, they'd be like, man, French, you ain't got nothing, but it's still cool. Like,
Yeah, and that's the weird thing too, because my lady will show my game room off in a heartbeat. She ain't into this, and neither is her friends, but they're always kind of like blown away with whatever they see down here. And that's the thing. I think a lot of people, they think it's cool, but again, they may not have the confidence to fully embrace whatever it is they like. And I always thought it was weird, like when I really started getting into collecting a few years ago, I was still working as a mechanic on the floor in the shop. And I remember matter of fact, that was one of my most popular videos when I got my first 3 Arcade1Ups. I left work early because I was in a Facebook group for Arcade1Up, and I drove 4.5 hours to Virginia Beach because they had them on sale. And oh, you're crazy. Da, 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 da. But these guys, a little bit older than me, tell me I'm weird for that. They literally build RC cars, which are cool, but they're literally spending thousands of dollars. Like RC cars, I had my little Honda Civics and stuff like that at the time, literally was costing more than my Honda Civics. And I'm like, you do that and you don't think that that's weird. And you're spending way more money than what I'm spending.
Wait, you drove 4.5 hours and you picked up 3 Arcade1Ups?
I got 3 Arcade1Ups for the price of, for less than half of the price of one. I got Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, and Final Fight.
For how much?
MK was 65, Street Fighter was 75, and Final Fight was 65.
Like, were they somebody selling them, or was that at a store?
Nope, that particular Walmart was clearancing them out, and people in the group, they showing the receipts, and I looked up the store, I called, verified they had them. Thankfully, shout out to whoever that person was that held at least 3 for me. Thank you for that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
Made it worth the trip. And the funny thing, again, let's say we still on topic, right? So I get down there, they're like, oh no, you're not supposed to be holding products for people. Somebody actually went into that store. Now, mind you, when I talked to this lady before I left, it was 4.5 hour drive. They're like, yeah, we got like 10 Street Fighters, 10 MKs, and like 8 Final Fights or whatever. I'm like, all right, cool. That should be fine. 4.5 hours. They shouldn't be gone like that, right? So I get down there, and literally the person held at least one of each for me. And he was telling me when I got there, yeah, somebody gave me crap, was trying to report me saying I'm not supposed to be holding stuff. And again, being toxic, you want to buy everything so you can resell it.
Yeah.
Like, bro, like leave some stuff for some other people. And that's what I mean. Like people, that's another part of being toxic, being freaking greedy.
Yeah.
Being greedy, want to buy up everything and just have it. And hey, look what I got. It's like, why? And see, I think that on the opposite end of, the collector scene, you got the collectors that are toxic, that do toxic things like, oh, look, I got four games and they're expensive. Like, why are you buying four games just to say that you have them?
Right.
Like that is strange.
I think that's another big topic too when it comes to toxicity in the gaming community is it's a big topic. The resellers versus collectors. You know what I mean? And content creators, like all 3 of those kind of wrapped into one, right? Because now a lot of these resellers are content creators and they put what they do out in the public eye. And there's a lot of people that are not a big fan of that. You know what I mean? Caleb, Chase After the Right Price. There's several that are bigger creators on YouTube that get a lot of shit for being resellers. And, there's a lot of smaller channels too, as well. And, I know in the retro gaming community, it's been hated for a long time, whether or not you made content out of it, that when you got a game, you didn't flip it and make money off of people. Like that was a big thing you just didn't do back in the day. And now it's kind of become more socially acceptable, but there are still a lot of people out there that are not a big fan of people who do that. Now, let me tell you, if you've ever sold a video game in your life, you're a reseller. You've resold something. Like, I mean, here's the thing that I find hilarious. Like, people will give Caleb shit and talk bad about Phoenix Resale or Chase, and at the same time they will go to a retro mom and pop store and buy games. please explain to me, like genuinely, please explain to me what is the difference between Caleb and going to Retro Rick's store. Like, what is the difference? Because Rick has a store. That's the only difference, because Caleb is going to buy your games from you for under market value and then sell them to make money. No different than if you go into a GameStop or you go into a retro mom and pop store. They are only going to give you between 30 and 60% of the value of your game. Yep. And then they are going to sell it for full market value, or depending on the rarity of the item, above market value. So what is the difference between a reseller and a video game store? Because they're doing the same thing. Just one has 4 walls and one doesn't. And the thing is the only issue I have with resellers is how they do it. Their actual business practices, if they do really scummy, shady things and lie to people. Yeah. But if you're honest and upfront, like, hey man, I got to make some money. Like, I know that when I go, like, I have 3 friends, each of them own a game store in my local area, and I've been friends with them for a while. I know when I go in there with a stack of games to trade into them, I'm like, hey, I know these are the good ones. So I know you're going to give me between 60 and 70% value, right? I know you got to make some money. What can we do on these? Like, to where you make money, I get something out of it, and everybody's happy. It's no different than, dealing with resellers. It's just how you conduct yourself, right? If you're going to lie and cheat and do that, it's no matter what you're doing, you're a piece of crap, in my opinion. But there are right ways to do it. And that's why I think I like and respect Caleb and been watching him for years, because he will literally walk into a game store and be like, hey man, I'm going to check prices on my phone, and I'm going to pick up games that you're slipping on, and I'm going to literally sell them and make money, and I'm going to film it. Are you okay with that? Yeah, you're okay with that? Cool. I'm going to promote your store. You're going to be in my video. He doesn't say it like that, I'm sure, right? But but he's honest about it. He's like, hey, I'm going to scan every game in your store. I'm going to try to make money on you. Are you cool with me filming? No, you're not? Okay, I'll go to the next one. Like, at least he's honest, right? Like, don't lie. Like, that's the biggest thing. But people get mad because, they blame YouTubers like resellers for inflating prices. They blame guys like Metal Jesus for the hidden gems videos because those inflate prices, right? Like people get, collectors, are just mad because they can't go to a yard sale and buy Earthbound for 50 cents anymore. Right? Like that's why people get mad. And it's like, dude, like I go out hunting all the time and I still find stuff. You just got to grind for it. And I don't know. I think those are big issues in the community as well. It's like a big divide right down the middle.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is most time people just get upset because you found it or you got it and they didn't.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it you see stuff, you're like, dang, I wish I had more of that here, especially like in Maryland. Like our thrift stores suck, But I've had a couple times where I've gotten like pretty freaking lucky, But it's not on the regular. That would be nice to have like a side business, but at the end of the day, it's not. I hate when people try to blame somebody because someone else doesn't know the value. Like, and it's times where I'm always completely honest because I may look for something if I can find something like on Marketplace. And I remember talking to this young lady. She had I think she had a Nintendo 3DS, and we all know like 3DS skyrocketed in price, right? So she had it for a certain price, and she's like, yeah, a bunch of people been hitting me up, and I said, look on price charting. It's actually worth this, because I asked her what was the lowest she would take. And I said, yeah, actually, I was going to look to make a little bit of money off of it. It's not a big enough margin for me. But I said, but since you're selling it, use this. And she was really grateful for me telling her that, because somebody made her offer. And I was just like, yeah, if I were you, I wouldn't take less than this, because you can absolutely get this for it. So I was being straight up, and she was thankful. Like I told her about price charting and stuff like that, because I think she was selling her dad's stuff or something like that. If I'm not going to get it, then I could be honest with her. I'm like, that's not a bad price if you want to take it, but you absolutely can get this amount,
right?
For sure. So that, I mean, there is, good positive situations, but at the same time, it's not my job or my responsibility to tell someone, hey, you should be selling. Let me offer you. Who's doing that? Nobody's doing that. Like that. I hate that. I didn't even know you could do this, but apparently, like on Facebook Marketplace posts, you can have like a conversation, like people could comment on like the sale post. I don't even know how it happened, but I seen it and somebody was like, "Oh, you're trying to rip this person off." I'm like, "How am I trying to rip them off if they put the price up there?" You can either agree or say no. Like, and that's my approach always. The worst they can say is no. All right, move on. Like it's not a big deal. You know, I just leave it at that. But some people they take it to heart. Oh, you're selling, but you know, I don't understand the hate that Caleb and Chase gets. But to be honest with you, shout out to both of them. Really nice guys.
Yeah.
Because they're straight up. When you got people that's doing some nasty stuff, some really now that, yeah, and get upset. Selling fake games and stuff like that, that's nasty. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want to address that, not somebody whose name is Phoenix Resale. Like, you know, he's being straight up, you know, out the gate. But you got people that's like apparently selling like fake games and stuff. Like, bro, that's nasty. That is nasty. You know,
like repros, like people selling repros.
People selling repros. That's pretending that they're real.
Yeah,
trying to get real value.
Yeah,
that's the problem. Like it's nothing wrong with repros.
Bro,
you know,
you know what's funny is like I've had like in my brain I've thought of like scummy ass shit I could do. Like people at GameStop are not like, guys, I've never done this. Please don't like cancel me on the internet. No, but like I've seen so many videos where like big YouTubers will order retro games from like GameStop, right? And they order all the Pokemon games from GameStop and they're all repros because the employees don't know how to check if they're real or not. Bro, like, you know how many times I've thought about like snatching up like 10 copies of Pokemon Emerald and just dropping them off at a GameStop and like, bro, because like train your employees, dude. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just think if you're selling,
we here at Upcoming Retro Podcast does not promote selling.
No, we don't. I would not do that. That's shitty. Disclaimer. I have a look, man. I would never do some shady shit like that, but I'm just saying, like, you could do that because, like, they just don't train their employees like a retro game store does. Which, if you're gonna dabble in retro, especially cartridges, like, you need to know how to look for the signs because there are scummy people out there that will drop off a stack of repros at a GameStop, and you will never know. I will never buy cartridges from a GameStop, like ever, unless you
go
store.
sit up there and open it.
Right. Oh yeah, well, because I have friends that work at GameStops, right? So if I saw a cartridge in store that I wanted, straight up, I'd be like, "Hey, I'm gonna open this." They would let me because we're cool like that. Like, I don't know if every store would be like, "Yeah, no."
Yeah, they probably won't, but it'd be funny because it'd be like it's in your best interest. I would probably buy it, open it, like, you know what, you just got jerked for this game. So
yeah,
just
that Earthbound is fake, buddy.
Yeah, you know? Yeah, and that's really unfortunate, but. I mean, you know, that's kind of on GameStop. You want to dabble in something, you better do your research, especially something like that. You come in there, you know, and yeah, you may not get market value in trade, but you probably gonna get a nice little penny off of something that you paid a few dollars for sure.
Yeah.
You know, very, very easy to do that, you know, but that's on GameStop, man. So GameStop, man, y'all better smarten your employees up, do some training.
Yeah, like seriously. A little training course, like a little freaking video they can watch while they're working or something.
Some are a lot easier to identify than others. Like N64 is pretty noticeable out the gate.
Yeah. There are a lot of telltale signs too with like Game Boy games, like the Pokemon games and stuff. Like there's things that are out there. They're getting better and better, but honestly, dude, like I think it's in everybody's best interest that GameStop does that. And I like that GameStop is selling retro games, more options for us to go and buy. There's plenty of retro games that are priced at market value or a little bit above, but there are a lot at GameStop that are underpriced as well that I've gotten really great deals at GameStop buying retro games, especially when GameStop does those deals where it's like buy 2 pre-owned games, get a third one for free, right? Like when retro games fall under that deal. So you could go in there and buy like all the retro games and get the third one free, bro.
And
like,
a lot of times GameStop is under market value.
Yeah.
Especially like for some top games. And that's another part of reselling I think people miss too. Whether people want to admit it or not, they kind of keeping retro collecting alive because they putting it back into the community. You know, a lot of times people buy stuff because they want it. And I've had people, you know, shout out to everybody to watch my Wii video. They're doing numbers. So shout out to that.
Hell yeah.
So people are like, I don't understand why you would buy a whole collection full of shovelware. That's all opinion. Every console has its shovelware. Like, let's not get that twisted, right?
Oh,
you
yeah.
just want to say we is more, but the truth is, that's why I want to actually go through. I'm gonna try my best. It'll take years, but I want to go through and play stuff because there's a lot of games on here that are great to play, and it's probably some of them may be guilty pleasure games on top of that. Like you don't know what's good if you never played it. You just assume. And to each his own. Like everybody has different tastes and what they feel like. But at the same time, I look at it as I'm playing a role in video game preservation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because at the end of the day, this or even with Rec, he's going for a complete PS2 set. French is going for an N64 set. Like, we may be playing a role in video game preservation in history because we may end up being the only ones left with that set, and somebody wants to tell the history of it. So there's two different sides. Like outside of just collecting, I collect because I love Nintendo, but at the same time, I know that I could very well. I have no plans on selling this stuff. This could play a role and end up in a museum or something like that. Like I may, God forbid, leave something like that in my will because I would love to have every Nintendo set by the time it's said and done. And this may play a role in that. Like, all right, when it's said and done, I want this in, or Nintendo come take this and have it set up where they have every game in the Wii U and Nintendo Wii set. Of course, I want my family to get some proceeds of that, but yes. Please take that and save that because regardless of whether someone likes it or not, it's going to be history to somebody. Somebody, one of our kids is going to fall in love with video games, and then they're going to want to know the history. They're going to want to play it. So with stuff going to a digital age, if we're not keeping this stuff, it's going to be gone because everybody's not going to value these things like we do. And regardless of what is said, a lot of people even commented on my video and said, I wouldn't do that. But it's still amazing to see.
Yes.
So that way people can actually see, touch, and feel this is a whole set.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to John Hancock because he has a ton of complete sets. And I've been to, especially at PRGE, every year he'll have a different one of his collections on display.
That's awesome.
Like that, you know what I'm saying? So stuff like that, like just for the history and just to be able to see it's still an incredible thing, especially just trying to learn the history of video games in general.
Yeah, and I think one thing that you said that's probably the most important thing that overall brings all of this toxicity to like a head is the fact that you was like somebody's gonna love this. But the main thing with these people, whether it's jealousy or any of that other stuff, is the fact that you don't have to like it. You don't have to like it. I like it. So if I like it, let me be. Yeah. You can like what you like. I'm not talking bad about you because of what you like. You might like, Commodore 64. Not saying anything's wrong with Commodore 64. You might like Atari, or you might like this. You might like Sega. Some things are just funny to talk about and make fun of in a joking way. But some people really do have hate in their heart for people who are true to themselves and can be themselves anytime and just love what they do. And those people they're always going to be around.
Yeah.
Is it going to affect me? No. I mean, eventually I know a lot of larger YouTubers are like, I had to stop reading comments because eventually when you get that much hate at once, it could take a toll on you. But at the end of the day, with my 17 people who view my videos, if I get one or two, hate comments.
He has more views than that. He's being modest.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. And, I had to, jump in and say that piece. Just let me like what I like, and you can like what you like, and don't hate on me for it. But I just had to say that piece. My counterparts here know I have to run as always. Everybody always knows I have to run every Sunday, or I'm just not here. But my baby girl that's the one thing I love more than collecting is my child, and I have to go get her. So.
But before you go, let everybody know really quick what you got coming up on your channel, French.
Honestly, I don't even know.
We
Okay.
Fit
My
episodes.
We Fit
Oh,
episodes.
We Fit
I
episodes.
actually did say I was going to do some We Fit episodes. I still don't have a We Fit board again, luckily, because you know it is one of the greatest games of all time.
I
That
got
and
one
Rumble.
CIB for you,
Oh man,
just
I
for you.
you want to know what's funny? I just saw one in the thrift stores near me, and they were selling it for like $17. I said, why?
Dude, I got mine at Goodwill for like $5. Like
Right.
with the balance board and everything. Like, yeah, they're always at Goodwill's, dude.
Yeah, I think I left mine at my parents' house. I can go pick it up.
Okay, so okay, quickly before you go, leave us with this so that you can rile the comments up. Give us a
Rile 'em up.
quick gaming hot take before you bounce.
Quick gaming hot take.
Give us a good one.
You want a good
Waffles over pancakes.
I do like waffles over pancakes.
Waffles over
one? Yeah,
pancakes.
yeah. What's a good one? I had
Let's
one. I'm
not be
trying to think
nasty, guys. We're not gonna be too nasty.
of. Why not? No, I can't say that. That one's terrible. Quick gaming hot take. College football 25. It's just another game, you guys. Like, don't get riled up in it. It's just a game. Isn't that what we say about everything? It's just a game. It's just a
did you guys get
football
it?
game in college.
That's a bit of a hot take. That's
Dude,
a bit of a hot take for sure.
I was at GameStop picking up my World Championship, my NES World Championship, and they were doing like a kind of like a midnight release, dude. There was hella people there for that.
Yeah, no, because college football hasn't been around, and it's funny that got brought up, right? College football hasn't been around since 2014. That was the last one, right? And I seen a post on Marketplace. You know, college football NCAA 14 went up in the hundreds. I saw a post on Marketplace this morning, no lie, for PS3. That drove us $30. I was like, look how the times have changed. As soon as a new one dropped, but I mean, the
that
joint
happens
looks
to all
fire.
those games, dude.
I ain't gonna lie, I might gotta get it because just that is going to make Madden a better game. Because if you guys haven't played it, I'm sure a lot of people just whatever they just crap on sports games, but you're able to progress your players from college into getting drafted into Madden. Like that's fire. Like that
dope.
coming back, like you know that's cool.
Well,
honestly,
I feel like that was a good hot take. And you want to know what? I'll leave you with another hot one, and I'm literally gonna just say it and run. But sports games are better than some of these other genres of video games, and I'll leave it.
Such as nope.
Give us a genre. What are sports games better than?
Nipple twister. Tell us.
Tell us. You watch yourself. Sports games are better than RPGs, and you heard it here first.
Get the hell out of here. Go be with your daughter. Go be with your daughter. I've had a heart attack. Your daughter needs you. We do not.
All things are a matter of opinion. It's not. This is not the thoughts of all your podcasts.
We know. We know.
That was hot.
But it's true.
All right. We're removing Frenchard. He's got to go.
God dang, dude.
Yeah, I know that pissed people off. Better than some RPG. Well, maybe some. He's not totally wrong, but you know the.
Okay, I will admit there are some. I love RPGs, dude. RPG and horror games are my jam, but there are a lot of sport. Dude, I grew up playing sports games. I played Madden, 2K, NBA Live. Like I was into that shit growing up. I played a lot of that stuff growing up. I really like the arcade sports games, kind of like NBA Jam, NBA Street, NFL Street. You know, like I'm into all that stuff, dude. Like I still play those games to this day. I'll still go back and play like an old Madden or an old 2K because those are the rosters that I grew up with, you know, playing. Like exactly, bro. Like I was playing Madden a few weeks ago, Madden 2007, and I did a fantasy draft. Like, and I remembered all the players from when I was growing up. So like, I'm still into sports games. I like all games, dude. If it's a good game, it's a good game. I don't care what genre it is.
We got a question in the chat from a friend of the channel, my boy Life of Tay Gaming. Shout out to Tay, man. We got to get you on here too, bro.
Ooh,
he wants to know what's the most recent RPG you played.
Oh my goodness. Okay,
like question
that I've finished or that I'm currently playing, because I'm currently going through a couple different ones. So right now I popped in on the Xbox 360 Infinite Undiscovery, which is fantastic. I'm working on that one. I'm also working on Ys 8, the Lacrimosa of Donna, I believe is what it's called, on the PS4. Dragon's Dogma 2, one of my favorite franchises ever. I'm playing that on the PS5. Mario RPG and Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, both of those. I'm playing through those right now. I'm playing through so many. I start these games and like, dude, but I'm playing through a lot of RPGs right now. I'm trying to think the last one I actually beat though. It's off the top of my head. I'm like drawing a blank right now. Let me think about that and I'll get back to you guys on the last one I actually like beat all the way through. But yeah.
Yeah, so the last one I played is funny. The last one I played actually was yesterday, and it was actually a mobile version of Fire Emblem. And I'll give some insight to why I was playing it. So the reason I was playing is because if you guys are familiar, if you go on the Nintendo website, they have certain things that you could buy with your platinum points. So they have the Nintendo World Championships hat that everybody was like kind of picking up with their points. Rob got his already. Shout out to Retro Rob. He literally has his hat. So I was trying to get some more points. So you get points for playing and stuff like that. So I was playing that. I actually was having fun with it too, because it's like you definitely could play RPGs on mobile, and it's Fire Emblem. So it was like pretty freaking cool. So I was having fun with that. And
are the hats still available?
Yeah. You still can get them, but you can't buy it.
Damn.
You can only use platinum points.
How do you get platinum points?
You can go on the website and it gives you different missions. Like you can literally go to different, like all the games have their own website. You can go there and do different missions. Like Splatoon, you find the 5 missing squids within the website, and it automatically goes to your account.
Now, what are those points you get from just buying a new Switch game?
I believe those
platinum points or no?
Sometimes it's platinum points for buying. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think there's another set of points too. But even just logging in, linking your account to Google, all those are points. Adding friends.
I want that hat. I have a feeling that hat, like 10, 20 years from now, is going to be worth some money, dude.
I think so too. I think the game is going to be worth some money. Like I got 2 copies of. I'm not a scumbag reseller, right?
But
some things I kind of feel, as a collector, you do want to make something work for you. Like you can either do the quick flip to kind of cover your costs of what you want to spend, or it's kind of hard to predict the future, but you can have an inkling, especially with Nintendo. You can kind of tell with certain games are probably going to have some value, Zelda, Mario, stuff like that. And this Nintendo World Championships, like people are really, really excited for this game. So of course the deluxe version everybody's getting, like Mike said, the hat. So I got the hat coming. So I ended up getting 2 copies. I'm supposed to sell one because I've thought about returning one. I was like, I just need the one. But part of me wanted to keep it sealed. I would have kept it sealed. The only reason I want to open it because I want to display that gold card. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like I was like, that's why that was my reasoning for buying 2. Because other than that, I would have kept it sealed. That's the same as my Tears of the Kingdom. It's completely sealed. I refused to open it.
Well, speaking of games we picked up, do we want to get into the pickup section of the podcast? Let's see what you got, man. Or do you want me to go first? It's up to you.
I can go first.
Okay, sounds good. We dude, what we need for the podcast in the future, guys, let us know what you guys think in the comments. But like when we have different segments, like I want one of us to hit like a hotkey button and then it does like video game pickups, wow, or like something like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like something cool like that. Like
I'm working on that. I need to get a Stream Deck for that. I need to get another one.
Oh, dude, I have a Stream Deck. They're amazing. But yeah, like when we do different segments of the show, like gaming news or gaming hot takes or whatever, like just like a soundboard, like because I got my Stream Deck like right here, like with all my sounds already programmed on it and stuff. And dude, it would be cool to make little scenes like that.
All right, so I'm gonna get into my pickups. I actually got these a little while back. So I picked up some NES games because I'm trying to kind of build out that collection while building something else that you guys will see very soon. So got some NES games: Captain Skyhawk, Top Gun, Silent Service. This is a good one. Bad Dudes. Great thing. Another one that's good is Mickey Mousecapade.
Okay.
Mission Impossible. That's pretty fire. 720. Another good one. And this is a big one too. It's not the hugely sought after one, unfortunately. This is Gotcha the Sport, but it's the 3-screw. The 5-screw one is the one that's pretty freaking expensive.
Yeah.
And of course, we were just talking about it. Got the NES World Championship, NES edition, deluxe. I actually got 2 of them, but I'll just show you that one. I haven't opened it yet. And I want to show this other one too, because I kind of forgot about it. Right behind me. So shout out to Plate Raven, my favorite local retro gaming store. I saw this in there and I was like, I gotta have it. It sucks French left already, but got this N64 bag, bro.
Dude, that's sick, man.
Yeah, man. I was like, yeah, I need that.
Hell yeah, dude.
And and Mike, you can attest to this. Like, it's becoming a thing at conventions that people are using these as like, fanny bags instead of backpacks. They're getting cool console bags. So I was like, yeah, this is fire. So I had to get that. So those are my pickups for the week.
That's awesome, man. Hell yeah, dude. Great pickups, dude. A lot of NES, man. That's dope.
Yeah, man.
All right, so you guys all know I'm going for the full North American PS2 set. So we got some PS2 games, but to get it out of the way, got the same thing as Marcus. I got the Nintendo World Championship NES edition. I'm going to leave mine sealed. I'm not going to open it. I do want to kind of play it though, because I want to try the challenges in it, but I'm just going to buy it digitally to do that and play with my kids. So then I went and did a bunch of trades yesterday at my buddy's game store. Laughing Crow Collectibles, and then also I went to another store called Chasing Nostalgia and picked up some PS2 games, and I went to the flea market yesterday and picked up some PS2 games. I picked up a total of 43 games yesterday. I'm not going to show them all. I'm just going to show all the games that I've gotten recently that are like mid-tier to a little pricier. So first up, we ended up getting a bunch of Armored Core games for the PlayStation 2. So we have Armored Core 2.
Those are big titles right there, guys.
Yep. Armored Core 2, Another Age. Then we've got Armored Core 3. Okay. And then we've got Armored Core Last Raven right there. We've got, this was the most expensive game. This is Armored Core Nexus right here.
Nice.
Then we got Armored Core. Did I get 2 of the same? No, that just must be another Armored Core 2. This is Armored Core 2 just by itself, not, yeah, it's different than the other one. Then we got the last Armored Core game is Armored Core 9 Breaker right here. So we picked up a bunch of Armored Cores. I think I'm only missing 1 now out of the full set for PS2. Then we picked up some other good ones. We got Manhunt 2.
Okay.
Then we got Persona 4 with the bonus disc. So
Sweet.
Which was nice to have both. Got a good deal on that. So we got Persona 4.
Mm-hmm.
Then we picked up an RPG. We got Valkyrie Profile 2. We picked up Wild Arms 3.
Nice.
Then we picked up Nightmare Before Christmas, Oogie's Revenge, which is a great one. And then lastly, for the more notable ones, we got Baldur's Gate, Dark Alliance 2.
Nice.
And yeah, that is the game pickups. Obviously, guys, all the other ones were kind of like low dollar, like, shovelware or commons or whatever. I'm not going to make you guys sit through another 30 of those games, but I will be putting out a video on that. Oh, also really quick, I'm not going to take it off the shelf, but like right there, you see the Silent Hill light in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Right below that is a PS2 light. It's not lit up right now. I still got to run wiring and plug that one in and Silent Hill in, but that PlayStation 2 light is made by the same person who made the Silent Hill light, our buddy Retro Beard.
Yeah, shout out to Adam.
Yeah, shout out to Adam. He's amazing. I bought the Silent Hill light at SoCal Gaming Expo when I was with Marcus and stuff like that. But about a week or so ago, week and a half ago, I got like this package in the mail out of nowhere, and it said the address was from Retro Beard, and I'm like, I don't remember ordering anything. So I opened it up, and there was a note in there. Let me grab the note. I will read it to you guys. Where did I put it? Where did I put it? It's hold on one second, guys. I had shoved it somewhere. Yeah, I don't know what I did with the note. But it's right in front of me. Duh. So I get this note from Retro Beard, and he wrote me a note, said, "Hey buddy, your friend Ben asked me to make this design for you. I was so glad to see your comment that you liked it. Be excellent." So Ben, Retro Escape, who was in chat earlier,
Shout out to Ben
from the Pixel Game Squad, as a gift, he like reached out to Retro Beard and was like, "Hey Adam, Mikey is going for the full PS2 set. Could you do a custom sign?" Like, he had never made a PS2 sign like that before. And him and Ben like were going back and forth on how it should look, and like fully designing this thing from the ground up. And I got it as a gift in the mail. So shout out to Adam for taking the time to make this custom
Big
light
shout out
for
to
me.
Adam. Great guy, great products.
Yes.
Make sure you go look him up. Look up Retro Beard. He has some very excellent products. I bought the World of Nintendo Light, which I think I showed that off last week. I love that. I just got to find out exactly where I want to put it in my game room, but I've been wanting mine since SoCal, but I bought mine at Siege. We got Retro Gaming Pandemic in the comments. Shout out to Eric.
What's up, brother? What's up, Eric? But yeah, big shout out to our friend Ben from the Pixel Game Squad, dude. Like, that was more than generous. Like, that was such a nice, surprising gift. And the funny thing is, bro, is like Retro Beard had posted on Instagram when he finished that light, like designing it. It was the only one he has made. And he posted it on his Instagram and was like, "Oh, I made a custom sign for a customer." And I commented on it. I'm like, "Bro, if you make any more of those, please let me know. I will buy it." And he was like, "Oh, I'll probably make some more after convention season." Little did I know, the one that he posted was mine, and I had no idea.
Right.
So Ben, I love you, bro, man. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Adam. You guys are amazing. And I can't wait to get it set up and plugged in and then lit up, in the background. So I just got to run some cable that's long enough from up there. But yeah, dude, freaking awesome gift. My favorite thing. I love it.
Yeah, that was awesome. It's funny that you got that sign, because when we were at Siege, I actually heard Adam talking about, I think it's in the background of one of my videos. Somebody said something about a PS2 sign. He's like, "Yeah, that was my first time making one." So dude, come to find out he's talking about yours. That's hilarious,
bro. They got the colors. They got the colors right and everything, dude. They went back and forth on like, because it literally looks like the top of a PS2 console where it fades from like purple to blue, and like, dude, like it's legit, man. Like I can't wait till I get it lit up and can show you guys. But it's so cool, dude. It's so cool. It fits. Now I'm like, since I'm going for the full set, like I want to take those lights and I literally want to like redo the shelves behind me and have like the center shelves be like the PlayStation shrine, like with the lights and all the games and like all this stuff,
like the wall of Wii.
Yes, exactly. I want you guys to see the wall of PS2 games, because right now there is some videos coming up that'll be out soon, but right now we are up to 455 games.
Sheesh.
Yeah, so 455 games total after yesterday's pickups. We only got like 1,395 to go.
Hey man, it's gonna. But speaking of that, man, I definitely wanted to talk to you about that, like, because this is the first complete set you're going after, right?
Yes.
How much fun are you having going after this complete set?
Oh, dude, it's great, because I went to, like, for example, like before, if I went to the flea market and saw a bunch of shovelware or sports game garbage, I'd be like, "Oh, great, I found nothing at the flea market today. Wonderful." Like, I wasted my whole morning. I could have slept in. But now, because I need all of these games, dude, every time I find one I don't have, I get freaking excited. Yep. Like, it doesn't matter if it's like a freaking Madden game. I'm like, oh, I don't have that one. Cool. And I'm checking another one off the list. Like it's giving me like a purpose of like it's refocused me on like collecting something specific instead of being like all over the board and like
Yes.
scatterbrain. So like now, like yesterday, I went to the flea market yesterday and I picked up 4 PS2 games that I didn't have for like $3 a piece, and they had the manuals in them. Like it was like they were all shovelware, like Spy Hunter 2, NCAA 2003, the PlayStation Play, like the iToy game, like the camera game, and then freaking Madden 08, which I didn't have. Madden 08. It's the only Madden I had left that I didn't have, with Vince Young on the cover. So yeah, I picked up all 4 of those, dude. Like, and I got excited about it. The old me would have been like, yeah, these are trash, I'm not buying these, but I needed them. So I love pulling out my phone and scanning them with the price charting app. Like, ooh, do I have this one? Do I have the big money? Oh, I don't have this one, I'm buying it. Cool. Like, dude, it's changed the way I look at collecting, because not everything has to be a mid-tier or a grail. Like I have to get every one. So now like there's a purpose to it. So when I go to the flea market, I know there is a good chance I'm gonna find something, because there's fucking 1,300, 1,400 more games that I need. You know what I mean? So I love it, dude. I've been having a blast. Like I've never enjoyed picking up shovelware in my life, but now it's kind of like being on a scavenger hunt. Yeah. And it's just fun, and I can make content out of all of it. And it's funny, man. It's like, guys, look, today I picked up my 3rd copy of Dora the Explorer, you know, like it's funny to me, and it's fun, and it's a good time, dude. I love it. And everybody in the community has been so supportive and like wanting to either send me games or give me advice or give me a discount on games, or like, dude, sending me Facebook Marketplace posts like, hey, do you have these games? This guy just posted these, check these out. And like, dude, everybody's been super cool, man. And I love making the content. It's given me content that I can make for years for you guys. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not only going to post PS2 videos. Like I'm going to make other gaming content as well. But the PS2 like pursuit stuff is like, you know, it's definitely given me like a focus and a goal and like a vision for the channel for like, you know, foreseeable future, with other videos sprinkled in. Like I do plan, you know, the Xbox 360 store is closing in a few days. I do plan on getting a 360 video out before then. But yeah, no, dude, like I going for a full set. It's awesome because you find games all the time now. Like granted, there will come a time, and I'm sure you experienced this with the Wii. There's going to come a time when you're really getting up there in the numbers, and you only got like a couple games left, or 1 to 200 games left, and it's like getting harder and harder to find like certain like niche, like obscure shovelware titles, like you know, because like there are going to be some shovelware games that are like $5 games that are going to be harder to find than Kuon, just because nobody kept them or nobody wanted them, whereas Kuon is known as the most expensive game on the market. So a lot of people are selling it. You can find Kuon every day of the week on eBay or Mercari, you know, but this random like, you know, pool game, like that's like $3, like that nobody kept because it's garbage, is going to be harder to find than Kuon. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yep. No, that's very true. That was my second complete set was the Wii. I did the Wii U first. And like Mike mentioned, I mean, the Wii U, I didn't experience that because that was just about to be getting phased out of GameStop when I did that set. And I did that relatively quick. That's a smaller set. It's like, I think 170 games, something like that, small set. But the Wii, for sure, like when I got down to like, or when I got up to like 1,000 games, I had like 200 left. It was getting really, really scarce. So like Mike said, when I would travel and I go to a store, if I found one game, I don't care how dumb it is or how much a shovelware game, like I got excited because I'm like, all right, that's one more. Like I remember being at Too Many Games 2 years ago, and I found Jerry Rice Dog Football. Like, why is that a game, bro? Like, but I got excited as hell. Like I was like, yes. My home was like, what? Jerry Rice Dog Football. He's like, man, what? Like, what are you talking about? But
oh, dude. You know what? Keep talking because I'm going to show you 2 real good gems I picked up yesterday.
Okay. You got some gems, but yeah, you know, I do like the streamline game hunting when you got a focus. Like I'm looking for only these games. To me, it just makes it more fun. And also like there's a joy I get for when I find games that I need and get closer and closer to the set, especially if I get it for a good deal. Like, I don't care if it's shovelware. Like, I look at the end goal in as a whole. Like, I envisioned this, which Adam, if you see this, and I said it to him in the video, I want a custom sign for a Wall of We that's gonna go over this. Like, I saw that. Like, I'm like, yeah, this is what I want to see. And regardless of how much it's considered shovelware, I love coming in my game room and seeing this. I
Oh
really
yeah.
do. So it's just amazing to see. But let me
Okay,
see
so
what gems did you pick up.
so like Marcus said, there's a lot of shovelware. There's a lot of common titles in big libraries like this. Like every library has its fair share of shovelware. 2 gems I picked up yesterday, and these are the types of games we're working with, guys. Like, besides the sports games, we've got Strawberry Shortcake, the Sweet Dreams game.
Oh my God. I
Yeah.
need to play that.
Yeah, it looks interesting. And then also I had to get Hannah Montana Spotlight World Tour. Like, like these
Shout
these
out
are
to
the
Miley.
dude, these are the games these are the games that are literally what we have to buy when you're going for a full set, right? And there's tons of games like this. There's tons of games like this. And it's awesome though, man. Like, honestly, like, why would I ever be excited about picking up Hannah Montana? Like, besides I secretly like am a big fan. I just am excited to pick these games up, dude, because I need them. It's one step closer. But you know what's messed up, dude? And I don't know if you felt like this in the beginning, but like, you were buying so many games, right? Like, you had like 1,300 something games to get for the Wii set. And it's like, at first you're like so gung-ho about it, and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna hit this hard, and you just start buying games and buying games and buying games. And then at a certain point you're like, yeah, I just bought hella games, my collection went up on price charting, this is great. And then you realize, like, god damn, bro, like, I haven't even made a dent. Like, I just bought 50 more games and I ain't even made a dent. Like, that's how I felt yesterday. Like, I picked up 43 games, and you saw the good ones I picked up. Like, they weren't cheap. Granted, I did it in a trade, so it didn't cost me anything. But like, I picked up 43 more games, and a good chunk of them were pricey, and I still have almost 1,400 games left. Like, that's daunting, dude. Like, and I've only been doing this for, like, I don't know, whenever my announcement video came out, like a month ago. So I've only been doing it for a month. When I started doing this a month ago, I was at 150 PS2 games, and now I'm at 450. So I've acquired 300 plus games in a month through doing trades. I've really purged and downsized my collection. So the grind is real when you're going for a full set. It really is. It's pricey. It's expensive. It takes a long time, a lot of patience. But
Oh yeah,
I'm excited, dude. Like, honestly, it's been great. So yeah, I love it, man. But do we want to move on to the hot take section of the podcast? You got a good one for this week?
Not yet. I'll let you go first because I know you got one. You get the comments fired up with your hot take. So,
oh man, where do I begin?
Go right away. We might have to shut it down after you do yours.
Yo, Novelist, what's going on, dude? Welcome in. Mecha Otaku Gamer asked, I hope you got Tales of the Abyss. Oh, I've had a Tales of Abyss. When I was originally, before I was going for the full set, I wanted to get every RPG and horror game on the PS2. That was like my first goal. And so I have all the Tales games for PS2 already. I've had those for a while. My gaming hot take. What was my hot take last week? Ocarina of Time and Final Fantasy VII are highly overrated games. They're not bad games. They're great games. But are they the greatest in history? No. But that was last week's
here
hot take.
at Upcoming Retro Podcast do not agree with the views of Rec Wizard. Totally.
Listen. I'm going to tell you right now that Final Fantasy IX is better than 7. And I will also say that Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom are all better games than Ocarina of Time. But the hot take for this week, let's make it a good one. I think that PlayStation exclusives are only so popular because they have the name exclusive tied to them. If PlayStation exclusives were not exclusive and they were just like every other multi-plat game, they would not be as popular and as loved. It's because PlayStation fanboys have this weird old stigma of like, or this weird old mentality of like, PlayStation exclusives are the best. It's what makes Sony the best. But if I could play God of War, which I can now because technically it's a multi-plat, I can play it on PC now. But if I could play God of War on the Xbox or the Switch, I don't feel like PlayStation games would be as loved or held, or placed on a pedestal like they are. And here's an even bigger hot take. I don't think games like The Last of Us are good. I don't think Last of Us is a good game, or The Last of Us 2. I think when people are saying that it's a great story, okay, I'll give you that. But if you played the first Last of Us game, the combat and the controls are so clunky. I feel like I'm playing a duck and cover shooter like a Gears of War game. And I just really don't like games like that. Like where you literally, like, I just feel like the movement in Last of Us is very clunky. I don't feel like it's smooth. It doesn't feel smooth. I do not like The Last of Us at all. And I think that it is ridiculous that Sony keeps remaking a game that's not even old. Can we get a remake of a PlayStation game that actually deserves a remake? Like, these games just came out a few years ago and we're remaking The Last of Us 2. Are you kidding me, Sony? And I'm a Sony fanboy. I love Sony, but you're remaking The Last of Us 2 and we can't even get a remake of like some of the greatest games in history. Where the hell can we get some, like, Legends of Dragoon or something? Like, but no, we got to remake The Last of Us 2 because it came out a whopping 3 years ago, like, or whatever it was. But no, I'm sorry, dude. Like, oh, also, I think games like Uncharted are not good. I don't like Tomb Raider. I think that Fortnite sucks. Like, we can go with hot takes all day long.
God.
Oh, and here's an even bigger one, too, that is going to drive you retro fans absolutely nuts. Number 1, Mega Man sucks. I hate I hate Mega Man. And look, I'm not knocking anybody who likes Mega Man. If you like Mega Man, that is great, because I'm sure there are games that you hate, like that I love. But I don't like Mega Man, and I am not a Sonic fan. I think Sonic games are not good at all. Like, I don't think that Sonic is good at all. Like, Mario is way better. There are so many platformers that are better. Jak and Daxter, Sly Cooper, freaking Ratchet and Clank, freaking Banjo-Kazooie. Like, there's so many better platformers. Sonic the Hedgehog is an awesome character, but not an awesome game. And I love his movies. I just don't like his games at all. It's not good. It's not good. Mega Man and Sonic are trash. And I think that, like, run and gun shooters like Contra are not good. Anything else? Any other hot takes? And people are going to hate me. And not everybody, like, supports my opinions. And I get it. But I'm just like throwing it out there that, like, Contra and Mega Man, like those side-scrolling shooter platformers, whatever you want to call them, like, dude, I'm sorry, like, they're boring. Like, they're kind of boring and they're not very fun. Just like the side-scrolling, and don't get me wrong, like, Symphony of the Night is cool and all, but like side-scrolling Metroidvania games are like, don't give a shit. Like, next. So yeah, those are my hot takes for the week, man. I just had to, like, really rile you guys up. I had to make up for AK not being able to make it this week, and for Black Ranger having to leave early. I had to, like, throw them out there and really shake it up, guys. And I haven't even read chat yet, but yeah, Last of Us trash, Mega Man trash, Sonic trash, Contra trash, Final Fantasy 7 and Ocarina of Time are overrated, and the Sega Dreamcast and the Saturn are not as good as everybody remembers they are, and the Wii U outsold them. So what does that tell you? Thank you, everybody.
You know what, guys? On that note, I don't have a hot take. Like, I don't even. I'm still trying to process this waste management system that just spewed out all this garbage about I'm offended.
Are you?
I'm offended, man.
Do you feel violated a little bit?
I do. I really do. Like, I'm like offended. I'm almost speechless. I love Mega Man. I love Contra. I love freaking Metal Slug. Like,
Metal Slug's all right.
I like Last of Us.
I like it more than Contra.
The Last of Us was. I haven't played the second one yet, but I have it. But The Last of Us, and I'm a Nintendo guy, but The Last of Us was brilliant. Brilliant. Sometimes the story makes the game. Yeah, it can be a little, but all the games aren't going to fit. Everyone. You know what I'm saying? But The Last of Us was brilliant. Very, very brilliant. Because, oh man, we're going to get canceled.
That's all right. You know what? I'll throw another one in there. I think Pokemon games are dog shit, and they haven't been good since the third generation.
On that note, guys, this has been episode 4.
Listen, hear me out. Hear me out. Pokemon has not been good since Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. And hear me out. I will give them this. Soul Silver and Heart Gold were good, but those were remakes or whatever of games that already existed. But like, dude, I'm sorry, but Black and White and X and Y and Sun and Moon and Sword and Shield and Violet and Ultraviolet and all that crap, Scarlet and Violet, whatever the hell it's called. Those games are dog water. Dude, Scarlet and Violet. I went out and bought Pokemon Sword when it came out because I'm like, oh, dude, a Pokemon game on a home console, like this is going to be dope. It's dog shit. Dude, then I was like, I'm going to give them another chance. I'm going to get Pokemon Violet. It was dog shit. Like the frame rate was terrible. The glitching was terrible. I'm sorry, Game Freak. You don't know how to make games. Like you don't know how to make games. I'm sorry, dude. Like they are just not good games, and it is such a cash grab to release those games and just knowing that people will literally buy Pokemon games just because it says Pokemon on it, and they will release this garbage out for people to spend $60 or $70 on.
At Upcoming Retro Podcast, all have differences, beliefs, and opinions on different games, and we do not all agree with Mr. Requisite.
That's okay. Look, you guys still love me. Look, there's a lot of games. Look, and here's the thing. Just because I don't like them, guys, love whatever games you want. Like, dude, you know how much crap I get for liking Skyrim? Commenting is direct. You're not going to say this in person. Dude, I have literally told a room full of people at a panel I did in SoCal and at the Sat Gamers Expo that the Sega Dreamcast is absolutely 100% overrated, and everybody's saying it was ahead of its time. Nah. I could go online on my Super Nintendo. Like, people forget that. Like, it's not ahead of its time. I'm sorry. PS2 came out literally a few months later. It was better. Like, I'm sorry. Like, Dreamcast, if Dreamcast was so good, then why did it only sell 9 million freaking consoles
because
worldwide?
They made a mistake, and it was easily to copy those games. That's why. We know that. That's a fact.
All right, the Saturn then. Saturn was dog shit.
Well, I don't think I think Saturn has its fan base, but I don't think anybody says the Saturn was great. I don't think nobody's saying that. Now, the Dreamcast, no, I don't think anybody ever said Saturn was ahead of its time. It was okay, but no, the Dreamcast was different. I refuse.
Look, I will give you this.
That, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I will give you this. The Dreamcast is the best platform from that generation to play fighting games. I will give you that. Like Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
That's the best fighting games. That's all you.
I mean, dude, let's be real. Like, okay. I said I don't like Sonic games. The Sonic Adventure games are the best Sonic games. Every other one is trash.
House of the Dead. NBA and NFL 2K.
Okay, yeah,
the originals.
Yes, I know, but like I would rather play 2K on the PS2 or the Xbox.
Oh no! Oh my God!
Yeah. Sorry, bro.
No, I will take those versions, the originals, on the Dreamcast to this day against any of them on any console, any platform.
I don't know, bro.
I will take those originals. Crazy Taxi. Ready to Rumble. What's that one game with like the 4-player co-op? I forgot the name of it. It's popular too. Power Stone.
Power Stone. Yeah, that's like an arena brawler. Like, look, dude, I'm not saying it didn't have good games, but like when people talk about the Dreamcast, right? They talk about the Dreamcast through these rose-colored glasses of like just it's the same people that will try to convince themselves that the Nintendo 64 was a great console. It's not.
Nope. We here at Upcoming Retro Podcast absolutely do not agree
Listen,
with Mr. Red
listen.
with his opinion.
Listen, if you
Nintendo
wanted
all day, baby.
if you wanted a console that, number one, the polygons looked terrible, it aged very poorly, the controller was dog shit, and it was literally filled with a library full of nothing but racing games and crappy sports games. Granted, I will give you this. It had Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and Mario 64, and the best wrestling games in the history of any console. But
Facts.
the N64, I love the N64, but going back and playing it now, it's not how I remember it when I was 8 years old playing it in the 90s. Like,
Well,
you know,
can't play it on your big HD TV, Mike. You got
I
to put
have-
it on
Look,
that TV right there behind you.
I got a 36-inch Sony Trinitron, and don't get me
Okay.
wrong, I like playing the N64, but like the people that are our age that like grew up in the 90s, like,
Well,
it's
hang
it's
on.
just-
You're a couple years younger than me. For the record, I'm 38.
and
You're
I'm
how old?
33.
That makes a big difference. So I kind of wouldn't expect you to like N64. You kind of had to be there in that moment, like middle school, high school, to really, bro. Like, and that's why, arguably, I feel like a lot of people in my age bracket will agree with me with this opinion. If you were in that age bracket at that time, middle school, high school, when N64 came out, that's why people for nostalgia, I always mess it up, nostalgia reasons, put N64 as the greatest console, because that couch co-op time, it's truly unmatched. Only thing coming close to that is to me is the Switch.
Look,
That time frame, GoldenEye, Diddy Kong, bro, it was super duper
oh,
goated.
dude, no, I know, and I love.
Yeah, but see,
the
you were
N64.
too young to really like understand that. In middle school, yo, bring your controller. It was lit after school. Everybody had one. Everybody at least had a controller. You got 4 people. Smash Brothers came out, which was insane. That commercial was goated too. I love that.
Oh, yeah.
commercial. That
Oh.
commercial was goated. But it's like,
Oh yeah,
if you were at that age at that time, bro, I remember playing multiplayer South Park. Who remember the South Park game on the N64?
oh dude,
Like that chat up. Y'all gotta let Mike know how messed up he is. I don't know what he put in
Dude,
his coffee this
look,
morning,
look,
but
look,
y'all gotta light him up.
look.
People that's in that age bracket, mid to late 30s, let this dude know what N64 was like. Here we go, right here.
Bro, I had an N64.
Hold the gamer. N64 was the truth. How old were you that you remember when N64 was out?
So I was born in 1991. I got my first console I ever got was a Super Nintendo. Now, mind you, I got the Super Nintendo when I was about 5 years old. So 1996, the N64 had come out that year. I got my N64 in 1998. So I was.
And you were born in 91?
So I was 7.
There's no way in hell you would even understand that.
But listen, I played my N64 because I didn't get a PS2 when they came out in 2000. Like, I didn't get a PS2 till like, I don't know, 2001, like a year after they came out. And I had a Dreamcast. I remember my dad bought me a Dreamcast. I had an Atari Jaguar. I had a PS1. I had a Sega Genesis. And there were certain games that I enjoyed. And don't get me wrong, playing dude, like even into the early 2000s with Melee being out, I still preferred Smash Brothers on the N64 with my friends. Like, I loved the N64. I still love the N64. But I do genuinely believe that out of all the consoles, I think that generation, PS1 and N64, didn't age that well compared to like the 6th generation. Like, there are games on the Super Nintendo that aged better. Like, I feel like games like Zelda Link to the Past holds up way better than Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time, the graphics of that game look like dog shit. But I could put in Link to the Past, and Link to the Past looks like some indie retro like games that come out today. And people would play Link to the Past. People would play that muddied clay-looking Ocarina of Time that have never played it before, have no nostalgia for it, that means nothing to them. And they'd be like, yeah, this looks like dog shit.
So let me get this straight. Your real only gripe is that graphic-wise, it didn't age well. Because, you said, because PS1 now.
PS1 looks terrible now. It hurts. Dude, maybe
but
it's all right.
That doesn't mean that if you put it on your old CRT TV that you can't get those feels back. Like, you know, a lot of times the game is more. If here's the thing that people would miss, you got people that want to get technical and break things down. Oh, frame rates and all of this stuff, load times and all this, right? But Nintendo proved this. This is why Nintendo was king, and it's the truth. I'm not even just being. Yes, I'm biased, but the truth of the matter is, N64 will always remain supreme because they're true to the art. They really are true to the art, and it's not always about the huge graphics and better frame rates. If the games are great and people enjoy it, that's what's gonna make the lasting impression.
Yeah, but I also think the PS1 aged like spoiled milk too. The PS1, like going, dude. But the thing is, okay, I will give the N64 this. To me, and people might disagree in the comments. Let me know, guys, in chat. I think the N64 aged better than the PS1 because when I go back, dude, and I try to play like, let's say, Final Fantasy VII or any of the Final Fantasies, right, to get that like polygon sprite, the character, right, but then to have like the pre-rendered backgrounds, it looks so blurry to me and so muddied together that it's like it's hard for me to like tell what the hell is going on sometimes because like I'm looking at Cloud run across the screen in Final Fantasy VII, and then the backgrounds are like these pre-rendered backgrounds, and it just blends and it just does not look good. Whereas I think the N64 in that regard does look better. The PS2, the 6th generation, is the best generation of gaming, in my opinion. You had 4 of the biggest video game companies in the world, the main 4, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, and Sega, came out with their best consoles that generation, in my opinion. Or, well, they're like, you had the PS2, the best-selling console of all time from Sony, with over 4,000 games in its worldwide library. You had the Sega Dreamcast, which is regarded as the best Sega console of all time, that was ahead of its time. You had the Nintendo GameCube that may have not been as popular back in the day, but has reached an all-time peak now with a really great library of games. And then you had the original Xbox with Xbox Live. Like, each console across the entire generation, each manufacturer, each company made a solid console, right? There was not a bad console in that lot. You also, from the 6th generation, you had like the Game Boy Advance. The Game Boy Advance and the Game Boy Advance SP were amazing. So like the 6th generation, now don't get me wrong, the 5th generation, the N64, technically the Atari Jaguar, the PS1, the Saturn, like those games walked so the 6th generation could run. I will pay respects to that. Don't get me wrong. But the graphical jump from that generation to like the PS2, the Xbox, the Dreamcast was insane, dude. Look at Final Fantasy X and look at Final Fantasy VII. Like that was huge, dude. Like to jump from that to that was nuts. Look at Ocarina of Time and then look at Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. Like those games were gorgeous, dude, when those came out. Like it was such a big jump. I think the 6th gen is the best generation of gaming. I would love to know what people think in the comments in both of our streams. Like, what do you guys think? What is the best generation of gaming in your opinion? If you're not sure which console falls into what generation, generation 1 would be like really old, like 1970s consoles and stuff like that. Gen 2 is like NES and Sega Master System. Gen 3 is like, what would Gen 3 be?
SNES, Genesis.
Or no,
32 bits or
16-bit,
right?
No, yeah. Gen 3, wouldn't Gen 3 would be NES, I think. Atari would be Gen 2. Gen 1 is like the really old stuff. So, but because look, Gen 3 would be like NES and Master System.
Yeah.
Gen 4 would be Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, TurboGrafx 16. Then Gen 5 is like PS1, N64, Saturn. Gen 6 would be the Dreamcast, PS1 or PS2, Xbox, GameCube. Gen 7 is PS3, Wii, 360. Gen 4 is, Gen 8 is PS5, Wii U, Xbox One, and technically the Switch. Switch is not Gen 9. It is still considered Gen 8, even though Nintendo did already have a console in that generation. We have yet to get a Gen 9.
I'm going with Gen 4.
You going with Super Nintendo and Genesis?
Yeah.
Dude.
Now,
I
arguably,
can't be
what is
mad at
that?
you.
What is it? Gen 8, 360, PS3, and Wii. That's another good one. The one with the GameCube. There's a lot. There's a lot to argue with any of them, honestly.
Yeah.
Besides the ones that's like pre my time, like I don't know much about it, so I'm not gonna like talk down on it. So, but I also don't pay too much attention prior to NES, to be honest with you. But I
Right.
mean, each generation it definitely has its arguments to be made for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the previous gen had to walk so the next one could run, dude, and like they all built off of each other. That's why like it even falls into like music, dude. You got to pay homage to guys like you got to pay homage to people like Jimi Hendrix and the Beatles, because then you wouldn't have the artists that you have today. It's like it's the same thing with video games. Like if the Atari, the Atari is very primitive, right? Like, but the Atari existed so that, the next gen could get better, and you got the NES, and the NES created the Super Nintendo, and then the N64 with 3D graphics, and like it's all a stepping stone, man. And like every console in its own right is good, right? Like I have hot takes about the Dreamcast, but I like the Dreamcast. I will play the Dreamcast any day of the week. Is it my favorite console? No. But does that mean it's a bad console? Absolutely not. There's so many great games on that console. I just like to poke fun and give people a hard time and get Marcus to like his blood pressure to rise a little bit. But honestly, dude, like you got to pay respect and pay homage to like where it started and like the generation before, because if it wasn't for the generations before, we wouldn't have what we have today with like the PS5, the Xbox Series X, and the Switch. So gaming as a whole, man, there's good games from every generation. There's good consoles from every generation. And then there's dog shit ones like
oh my God.
Like the Apple Pippin, or the really random obscure ones like that nobody like gave a shit about, right? That were just garbage. The Philips CDI, these random like consoles that like, why do they even exist?
In this comment from Unloaded, he said you can't really say what the best gen is or was if you didn't experience it firsthand. You can have an opinion, but experience is always king. That's very, very true. I wholeheartedly agree with that statement, because one thing can mean something to someone else, but like I was explaining, like anybody that's within that age group that I mentioned for that N64 time, telling you, there isn't a single person in that age bracket that wouldn't vouch for that. That wouldn't vouch that N64 isn't like the greatest of all time. It was just an amazing time in gaming. Like it really truly was. Like, and you kind of had to be there, and you had to be, at a certain age to appreciate it. And that's not to say that somebody else that grew up, you grew up more so in that age time for your age bracket was PS2. Makes sense.
Yes.
But and then you might have kids like now, my kids or our kids, but my kids a little older, they'll probably say PS3, Xbox 360 was kind of where they started.
Yeah, that's my brother too. My brother's 10 years younger than me. And so like my brother, so it's kind of the same thing with me. Like my introduction to gaming was the Super Nintendo, and then like the N64 in the 90s, but I was really young, right? And I played them into the 2000s. I still play them today, but my brother is 10 years younger than me. So my brother was born in 2001. So like, when he was a couple years old, like, yeah, he would sit there and like play with me on like the original Xbox, the PS2 and stuff. But his real generation, bro, like into his like junior high and stuff, Rec got him some crazy suits. You guys haven't seen my Pokemon suit yet. My Pokemon suit is the most obnoxious one out of all of them I own. I'll wear it and pose for you guys one time. But my brother's generation that he remembers vividly, that he's most nostalgic for, is the Wii, the PS3, and the 360. Like that is his generation. And I remember when I was setting up my game room and I had my CRT set up and I had plugged in the N64 and I was testing it out, and me and my buddy Nathan and my brother were sitting there, and we turned on like the N64, and my brother looks, and my brother goes, "Why does it look so bad?" And and that's because he wasn't born till 2001, so he didn't grow up playing the N64. Like those graphics to him are bad. Like he just didn't like it. He was like, "This is ugly, dude. Like give me the PS3, give me the 360 or the Wii. Like this is garbage."
Yeah, those 3D graphics were tough. You know, back then we thought it was cool, but they're rough. I will say that they didn't age well. But Twisted, shout out to Twisted in the comments. He said, "I worked at Bandai when the Pippin was released. What a nightmare."
Dude, Twisted, that console has been on my collecting list forever. I have wanted an Apple Pippin for years just because it's so funky and obscure that like it's the only console that to my knowledge that Apple has ever made, and they partnered with Bandai to do it. And it was a huge failure. But it's still really a cool piece of history, right? Just kind of like the Atari Jaguar. It's a garbage console, but it'd still be kind of cool to have one. I grew up with the Atari Jaguar. I remember getting an Atari Jaguar at KB Toys and then buying almost all the games because they were in the clearance bin at KB Toys.
Yeah. I got a special place in my heart for the Jaguar. I recently sold mine, but I remember getting one like, you know, for the low at the time. So I picked that up, but it was definitely different. And I think just because that was something that I kind of got with my own money, it was a mess up situation. I never even got to play it back then, but when I got it again, I was pretty excited about it. Shout out to Neil Ness in the comments. What's up, bro? How are you, man? Welcome in. We're just having a nice comp. And, you know, with Neil Ness in the chat, let's talk about Neo Geo real quick. Since we're talking about I don't even know what generation was that. Mike, your mic's off. You muted.
So Neo Geo is probably like the 4th gen, right? Yeah, 4th gen would be like the Genesis and Super Nintendo, like early 90s stuff, late 80s, early 90s, like TurboGrafx, that era. Okay, yeah.
Okay,
Ben says in chat it is 4th gen.
Okay. So. Now, see, there we go. So Neil Ness said the same thing. 1990. So NES. Wow, it's that old?
Yeah.
Now, that's a whole nother level. Like for more than one reason, just because the common person couldn't afford that. But at the same time, we got direct arcade clones. Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you really want to get down to the nitty gritty of like what was the best console, you know what I'm saying? I'm a Nintendo guy, but Neo Geo, like even their sports games was just so different. I can just appreciate how different it was. Even to this day, like you know, I had, which I need to get another one. I had a Pandora's box where I had a bunch of those like Neo Geo games, and I still got my Neo Geo Mini. And those games are fun. Like every last one of them, just fun and different. You know what I'm saying? Like that's something that it's kind of unmatched, and it has its own lane. And Mr. Neil Ness is close to completing that set. How far are you with that set? Which is amazing, to say the least. Like straight up and down. Last games were made in the early. Yeah, they did. He said down in the comments, he said that last games were made in the early 2000s. That's very true. They had a long time when they were still doing production. That's insane. That's what, 10 plus years? Like that's crazy. That's insane. They definitely had a long run. I think it was another console that had a long run too. Was that NES? NES was pretty long after their due date. So Neil Ness says he needs 18 English titles to complete the English set. That's crazy. And how many in the set? I think it's like 100 or something, 200 something, right? Something like that. But yeah, that's crazy because Neo Geo is extremely expensive to collect for. So shout out to him, man. And I always encourage him to stay with that, because even if we can't afford it, you decided to take that task on and be able to provide that information. Somebody else is gonna, I think we all appreciate Neo Geo. I just think our bank accounts don't appreciate Neo Geo, but I mean, it's still amazing to see the progress, like his collection. Make sure y'all check out his channel as well. Make sure you go sub to
Neo Ness.
He's
awesome, dude. Great creator. I love seeing the Neo Geo stuff, dude. It's so unique because it's so expensive. Not many people do it. So I love your content, man.
Absolutely. So he's got there's 94 English and the rest of Japanese exclusive. Yeah, no, Neo Geo is lit and his channel's lit, man. So make sure y'all go support that guy. He's great dude, great content. excellent channel. Please go subscribe to his channel.
But on that note, guys, I unfortunately need to wrap up because I have to go pick up my kids from my parents' house because they kept them overnight because yesterday was my anniversary and my mom is like, hey, come get your kids. So I'm like, all right, I'm coming. But as we're wrapping up, because we're reaching the 2-hour mark, Marcus, what do you have coming up on your channel for this week? Anything?
I can't tell you, but
okay, it's a secret.
No, the next couple videos are actually gonna be really, really big, really
Nice.
big, really big. Like literally both of them are gonna be big. I had a few big ones, but like the next two are gonna be huge. I'm really, really, really excited about the next one. Like I can't wait for y'all to see it. I think it's gonna be a lot of joy that the audience is gonna feel, going to experience with me in that moment. You guys are gonna be just please tune in. It's gonna be great.
Hell yeah, dude.
What about you, Rec?
I literally have my next video. It drops on my channel in 4 minutes. Another
Awesome.
another PlayStation 2 Pursuit video. Oh, dude, thank you, Ty Lord. I appreciate that. So yeah, it drops in like 4 minutes. It's a full-length video on my channel. Checking out another buddy's game store, making a huge trade for PS2 games. Got well over 100 games in that trade. So I hope you guys enjoy that. I got some other like shorts and stuff I'll be working on this week because from the hunting I did yesterday, and I'll be I think working on some other smaller stuff, some other videos, maybe an Xbox video before the store closes. But other than that, that's about it, guys. So like hopefully you guys like the video that comes out in just a couple minutes. Yeah,
absolutely. Make sure y'all go over there, check that video out, and let the people know where to reach you. You should know it already.
You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm on all those platforms. Same name, Wrecked Wizard on all of them. So it's easy. You can literally, all the links are actually here on my YouTube or on my Instagram. You can find them everywhere. It's all connected.
Awesome. And of course, you guys can find me on all gaming and social platforms at Video Game Votery. And thank you guys for supporting the podcast. And please subscribe to the podcast channel because we're trying to build that channel up before we start going live over there.
Yeah.
So the podcast channel is the name of the podcast, Upcoming Retro Podcast. Please sub. I'm gonna link it in the description down below for you find. Even if you type it in, it's very easy to find. But with that being said, until next week, we sign it off. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys, and be safe. Love your family.
Bye, guys. See you next time.